So all that's been helpful. I think the main difference, if I may, with the media audience is you don't have, as administrator of UNDP, the media waiting around to see if you're going to slip on a banana skin or have a stroke or something like that. It's more a media attention that's focused around the issues and the challenges, and that is intrinsically more satisfying.
It is intrinsically more satisfying?
Correct.
Let me before I go to this question here, I'm curious. New Zealand is frequently upheld as an example of sustainable development. How did you do it?
Well, I wouldn't want to imply that New Zealand doesn't have its environmental challenges. It does. And it's on a race against time to protect rare species of birds in particular, because New Zealand as a landmass has been isolated from other land masses forever and a day, and so it developed a bird life which wasn't accustomed to having predators. And then when people came and brought their rats and then their cats and their stoats and their ferrets and their possums and the rest of it, it played absolute havoc. But you could say that we still have, birds of a genre that long disappeared in other countries. But we are in a race against time. And yes, we do have our issues, but there's also intense environmental interest in New Zealand. When I was Prime Minister, I set out a vision for the country to be carbon neutral. We could be carbon neutral, absolutely. We set target dates for being carbon neutral in transport system, energy systems, waste, etc. This is achievable. A country like New Zealand can lead the way.
When will you be carbon neutral?
Well, we had an aspiration to achieve it in, say, the energy sector by 2030. New Zealand can be 100% renewable energy in a good rain year. We're around 70% renewable now, but with more investment in, hydro, we have a lot of wind, solar, tidal technologies, whatever comes along with hydrogen. For sure, we can be totally carbon neutral in electricity energy generation.
Well, that's very good news, and I think we should all take a good look at what New Zealand is doing. I've got a question here from Larissa. She asks, do you think that technology is the answer to developing countries, or are basic needs still primary concerns?
Well, basic needs are very primary concerns because we still have, roughly a billion extremely poor and a billion hungry people in our world. And that's not satisfactory, is it? The 21st century has never been satisfactory, but we see such great extremes of wealth. We see a squeezed middle class in many countries, and then we see extremely poor people. So we do have to focus on the basics, but I think technology is also part of focusing on the basics. You have to use the latest, and as I said, with respect to social media and ICT, it can actually help with warning systems about where there is going to be a food shortage in, say, coming months. It's part of the whole system of responding to disaster and crisis.
What kind of equipment do you distribute to people, or do you encourage people to buy? I mean, do they cell phones? Do they use computers, or is it all of the above? Or is there something more specific? Are people getting very advanced?
Well, we don't sort of recommend a particular mode, if you like, but what I would observe is the cell phone and text messaging, which is prolific in, say, sub-Saharan Africa. Often the costs of the smartphones would be prohibitive. People don't necessarily have access to the internet at all, but text they do. And where there's not text, it was interesting to see in some of the states where there were uprisings in the Arab region in the past year and a half, there was a speak-to-text service where people could phone, leave a message, and that would be texted. So there's been a lot of innovation.
Where was that? I'm sorry.
I understand in Egypt there was speak-to-text. Yeah. So and if you look at the disaster response use of ICT, that came out of the incredible innovation in Kenya with what's called the Ushahidi platform, which was a response to the outbreak of post-election violence in 2007, and they helped sort of spontaneously chart and map that, and that's now developing into a fantastic platform for disaster response and crisis response.
So I can say to my journalist colleagues that there's some very interesting stories coming out of Africa, apparently, in the social media realm.
Well,
and some very good news, some very positive.
Incredible news.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, let's give two specific examples. One, in Nairobi, a few weeks ago, I met at an ICT innovation hub. Most incredible young ICT innovators and entrepreneurs. The place is buzzing with ideas. There is so much innovation. The big techo companies, like Microsoft, should be in touch with these young people. They're world leading, truly. So worth Googling and finding out.
What are they doing there?
Well, they actually provide innovation space, so you can be, as a young entrepreneur, given your desk and terminal and access to the internet, and you get on with generating and designing your software and building up your business idea and so on. It's like any innovation hub facility you see in my country, USA, whatever. Absolutely fantastic. Another example, ICT in Africa, the commodities exchange in Ethiopia, which UNDP gave the seed funding for. And when you go into the commodities exchange, there's the electronic boards with the price of the different grades of coffee up on the board. The traders are trading like they would in the Chicago Stock Exchange floor. But excitingly, what it means is for the small farmer out there with the text messaging on the end of the phone, they can't be cheated anymore by middlemen because the prices can be texted, straight out, instant feedback from the market. They know what they should be getting for their goods when the guy comes around to buy it. I mean, there's very exciting use of ICT.
That's a great story.
It's a great story.
That's a great story. Wonderful.
Yeah.
A wonderful example. We've got just about 1 minute left. I'd like to give you the opportunity to talk about what do you foresee for the future. What should we be focusing on? What can we take out of Rio+20, and what do you foresee for the future? Are you optimistic?
I was in politics almost all my life before I came to UNDP, and now I'm in development. In both areas, I'm in the hope business, so I'm always optimistic. Whatever the outcome says, the outcome document says, we're going to get out there and work with whatever the resources are in country to get the best results we can for sustainable development. So yes, I'm professionally optimistic because I know it can be done. I know it can be done.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a great honor and a pleasure.
Thank you. Obrigado.